is number one. Do not ever use a cell phone unless you have to. You have to use a landline. Go back.
That right there is going to that screws.
That's the end of civilization right
People
there.
right
yeah.
now are just like,
yeah.
shut this off. I'm
Crackpot.
going to die from the
We just
frequencies.
lost
I don't
half our
care.
audience there,
Right.
Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We'll release a couple more bombshells. Stick around.
Keep them coming.
That one might be the biggest of all, though. I mean, if you told them to stop eating sugar or whatever, they might be, but it's not my cell phone. My God. Which is quite a statement on our civilization right now, because I think that's probably people go into depression and the symptoms they're having just from being denied cell phone use for like 24 hours. It's amazing.
It's already been documented that medically in a scientific magazine that you take a phone away from a kid, he'll kill the parents.
I mean, it's happened. I mean, it's not
I
every.
don't think he'd kill himself.
Not
but
every
the parents
time, but
first.
They will.
Okay.
They will kill them
I
because
wouldn't doubt it.
this is digital heroin. It really is. It's that addicting. And
Is it dopamine receptors?
It's a
and all that? Is
dopamine
that what it is?
receptor. That's exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. I wouldn't have figured that out, but I know that's the truth. It's
I'm
dopamine.
a doctor, you know.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That's a rather
You're a
skeptical
doctor.
No,
response.
he's opening his office within the next month.
Yes, Edwardsville Foot and Ankle.
So,
Dr.
I'll
Kachigi.
listen to
Dr.
it. It's a
Kachigi.
selfless plug. Everyone will put name. Come on down. We'll give you the best.
618-600-6577.
So
Okay, go. I got my plug in, so I
No,
can leave now.
That's great. No, you hit it on the head. I was thinking of that where I couldn't think of it, so I'm glad you said it.
Yeah,
So
dopamine receptors,
we have this digital heroin. Everybody's addicted to it, including the parents. So now the parents realize it's bad. So according to Dr. Robert Kazar,
Do they? I don't know. I mean, parents.
they're finding it out, but they don't even. If you're in the city, this is what I was told 4 years ago when this happened. People are in the city. If you show them that this is harmful and show them without any question it's harmful, they'll actually not only get mad at you, they'll want more of it. Because these cell phone towers, you don't have to control the fish. You just control the sea. They're controlling all the air in the air. So we're electromagnetic, and all these frequencies are going around here. It's like a big soup. It's interacting. It's changing us. And the whole purpose of the temperature guns for the temperature of school has nothing to do with health. Because it never is nothing to do with health. First of all, you're suffocating your kid. Okay, it has zero chance of stopping a virus. But now you're taking a terahertz wave frequency, pointing at the pineal gland, which unzips the DNA. Every single time you do that, what that means is it's disconnecting from their God connection. That's what this is all about.
What's doing this?
The laser from those thermometers.
Oh, the thermometer itself.
Zapping the pineal directly.
Okay, we're taking the temperature.
We've never done this any other virus,
Right.
epidemic, whatever it was.
Well, those have been around for a long time, though. Those laser temperature, the thermometers.
Yeah, but they never was used on every single day and pointing at your pineal gland.
Well, it's probably more inexpensive to manufacture them now than it was back in the day to have the laser and the digital thermometer. You know what I mean? But either way, yeah.
Well, it is used in
But you're saying the repetitive exposure obviously makes it exponentially worse.
It's first.
Can I ask you a question about the it used to be the transformers. I mean, you same thing.
Yeah, the
Is
high
that-
voltage transformers.
Yeah,
didn't
you
live
don't
by
want to
that.
have those high voltage wires over your building, because I know people have, real estate values apparently went down and stuff if you had these. Same thing? Is that
That's exactly
same effect?
That's exactly what it is, and that's why
Okay.
that's why there's a higher concentration of trees, especially pine trees, dying around the power lines, especially if they're practicing social distancing.
What would you say is worse, those or cell phone towers, or same, comparable?
No, well,
If you had to live next door to one, which would you pick?
if you had one over your head.
okay. Let me tell you the biggest booby trap that no one's talking about. It's
Sure.
not the cell phone tower. It's not the power lines. It's what's in the house. They've tricked us to bring all these different cell phone towers into the house.
Router.
We have the Rukus. We have the different smart TVs, which stands for Secret Militarized Armaments and Residential Technology. 5G is smart. Anything smart, including your smart meter. Secret Militarized Armaments and Residential Technology. These psychopaths use emblems and acronyms. This is how they do it. Okay, so you
What's
bring
the
all
R?
this secret militarized armaments and residential technology. That's what it stands for.
Oh.
So you bring this disaster into your home, and now your house is the most polluted place on the planet. You're smoking 100 packs of cigarettes a day, and you wonder why your kid doesn't want to get out of bed. You wonder why we have a terrible workforce. You wonder why everybody's lazy. You wonder why everybody's gaining weight. Because you're poisoning yourself, and that's why you gain weight. And that's why there's such an epidemic of weight gain in diabetes, because of your body can't process sugar. And we can't process sugar because of hemoglobin and all the different things going on in your body's all screwed up. You have to then the parasites come in, and then kind of keeps your body a little more even. We get rid of the parasites, get rid of the EMFs, you get rid of the diabetes. It's gone. So
I would like to see like a colony take this to heart and see what kind of change, just like how they did biodomes and whatnot.
Take it to heart. Hell, take it to Mars. They're terraforming that place anyway.
Well, that's my point. I'd like to see an actual controlled experiment to see what the differences in health could be, and you'd have to do a bunch of them too, because this.
Yeah, it's not going to work with a dozen people.
Right,
in,
you're
going
gonna
to
need,
need.
I'd volunteer.
Would you?
Yeah, fuck yeah. What's it pay?
Nothing. It's volun.
It's not volunteering. That's
Anyway.
a contradiction. I'd volunteer for proper pay.
Really?
Isn't that?
That's not volunteer. You guys are missing the point.
That's.
Don't
the
you
point I
believe
was
in it
making.
enough to go do it for free?
No,
Anyway.
so
Rob, I got kind of a swerve here real
I
quick.
want recompense.
It's right along the lines of the electromagnetics in your body. So, and maybe I'm crazy, but
True.
many times in my life, I'm walking down the street
What do
or
you mean,
down a
maybe?
sidewalk, and I get close to a street light or something like that, and they will. It seems like they react and turn off. Like this happens all the time to me. Like I'll be walking and boom, a light goes off.
This fucking guy.
You are crazy.
Yeah, this fucking guy.
Say what you will, it's been happening my whole life.
Lunacy.
So,
I think it's great. I think you're the bomb.
Yeah, but he has very poor bowels.
have you
He
ever
has
heard
some
of anybody?
real trouble?
I've heard other people say
I think
this
that's what
happens
it
to
is.
them. Am I just seeing like a
I saw it in
coincidence?
a movie once.
Did you really?
What happened?
The person was walking down the street and the lights started going out as they were walking.
Yeah, but this isn't every light.
Friday
This
the
is
13th.
I'll be walking down and as soon as I walk under a light, it'll snap out. Not every one of them I walk under, but often enough where I notice it.
Do you see the big black blob anywhere during all this?
You shut up. You're out of here now. Have you ever heard anybody else have any kind of reactions like that to electronics?
do you
where
hear voices at
They seem to
night?
interfere.
No, just ghosts.
Just ghost.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't want. I would rather it be some sort of electrical thing than ghost. I can deal with electric.
Do you have any sores that won't heal on your genitals?
What? Yes, but
It sounds like
guy.
syphilis.
What's that got
me.
to do with anything?
I think it's syphilis.
wait. Sorry, Rob. Carry on. And
Easy
Armand, I got to
diagnosis.
remind you, 10 o'clock.
I have to go to court.
have
Yes,
to go to
I have
court,
to be
so-
incarcerated today.
Oh, great.
My last show.
10 o'clock.
A few more minutes.
He's not going to jail. Yeah, you're fine.
No, the traffic ticket is stupid.
They can't take you down. So what else you got, Rob? What else you got on your
Well,
mind?
I was going to
I'm
ask.
loving this stuff.
I thought, wouldn't you want to give some tips on how to, for your health to help at least, ameliorate some of these problems?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about the LED lights, and we'll talk about remedies,
Oh, boy, them too.
mitigations,
Oh,
that type
boy.
of
I
thing.
just bought a
So-
new LED TV, so like this is kind
70-inch?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
sir.
dead.
Yeah, that's putting out the 449, 450 nanometer frequency, which kills all bugs. And, I mean, it can't get any
They
better.
should advertise
So-
that because that's like a selling point.
Right off the bat, LED TVs, are they worse for you than the old CRT tubes?
They're-
Because those things put off hella radiation.
Yeah, the LEDs are a lot worse than the
wow,
other
worse than
types.
cathode ray tube.
They just get worse. And so, but again, it's pulsing, and with these electromagnetic perverted frequencies combined with LEDs, it's like giving a lobotomy. It just erases everything, makes any common sense you might have possibly had at the time gone. And that's really what it's doing. Is because that's why we're walking in this twilight zone we're in right now.
I feel that.
So I always feel like
You exhibit that.
I'm in the twilight zone. So they have these light emitting diodes. Okay, they pulse. Okay, if you're in any common sense at all, you would never have a light outside or inside the house that didn't have a diffuser on it. So these light emitting diodes outside have no diffusers on them. At least the ones in the house do. So they can pulse. They can change the modulation of the frequencies to create any sort of illness they might want. So they have that. They have the scanning potential with these things. And you got the Harvard technology, these little diodes you put on top of it. They can scan the areas. They can do whatever they want. Now, could I look at one and know for sure it has something going on like that? No, I have to take it down and test it. I have to look at it and see what type of capacitor it has, see what the voltage it has into it, see the power. But I can't get anybody to do it for me. I talk to electricians, and they're like, I can't do that.
When you when testing one of those LEDs, what would you look for? You said what type of capacitor? What would exhibit like a bad one, like you're saying?
Well, you would say it might run on 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 10 volts. Okay, but I might have the capacity to run on, have 400 volts or something like that. Something higher energy level that it can turn into maybe a DW directly in your weapon. And people think, oh, this is just nuts and insane, but it's not. It's been used for a long, long time. You can match the residency of anything, just like the twin towers. All you have to do is match the residency. I mean, planes can't knock down a tower. And for God's sakes, it can't. It's impossible. It can't heat up the.
I'm with you on this.
It cannot do it.
We're going to agree to disagree on this one. I thought we all saw it.
What's the explanation then? More focused?
No, direct energy weapon.
Direct energy weapon,
All they
yeah,
had to do
that's
is
been a big
because
thing.
The whole entire Twin Towers flew across the United States. It just evaporated and went dust. It can't do that. Watch any sort of demolish of any building. They use blasting. Okay, that's exactly how it went down. It's
I like this.
impossible.
It's true.
I mean, give me any.
We've had that show.
Give me any engineer that can explain to me how that happened, and we can talk
They
for a
don't
few
fold
minutes.
in on themselves like that with
No.
just right into their own footprint. No,
They can't do that.
They don't pulverize into dust, and there is no liquid.
Is there a Building
metal.
7 counterpart to this theory? Because Building 7, we all know that fell on its own.
Office fires?
I'm just wondering if there's any directed energy weapons had anything to do with that. Maybe they staged in 7, and just the housing of it was enough to ruin that building. I don't know. I'm throwing out ballparks here. I mean,
Sure, that definitely was a DW. Why not? He did the other ones as well. They just continued to do it. And of course, the plane that supposedly hit the Pentagon. There's videos of.
that's the fishiest one right there. There's been no evidence that a plane hit that building.
No, it looks like that guy has a video. It looks like a rocket went after it.
Yeah, the 2 or 3 frames that we get to see of it anyway. Yeah.
I think they want to find out is they want to find who's awake, because you can't figure that out. You're not awake at all. I think that's what they're actually trying to figure out, who's awake. It's like we live in this matrix of fake people, and we're running around and they're trying to figure out, okay, who's real.
Well, automatons. Well, I mean, I ascribe that to our education system, but that's a different indoctrination system. But
All right, so I guess we should get to some solutions here before people start.
love to
yeah,
hear.
oh my
hopefully
God,
something. Yeah,
this
give
is
us-
horrible.
Give us
My-
a little something upbeat
Okay,
to go
there's
home with.
Okay, there's some really good news. Okay, there's a lot of good things people can do. Very, very, very inexpensive. First of all, stop going in the wrong direction. And if you I can't say get rid of your cell phone if you go bankrupt. You might have to need the cell phone for work, and I understand that. So you can hire a building biologist like myself or someone else, and I can set up by people all around the country. There's over 200 of us that can go to your house, and some people even do it over online on Zoom if you can't make it to your home. But the first thing you want to do is start learning how to use your cell phone where it's safer. And you can actually have a low voltage company come to your house, and I have people that I can hook you up with. They go to your house and hardwire everything. That's the first thing you should do. You don't need to have a wireless computer. Oh,
I prefer wired computer, honestly, but that's just for the speed.
that's what most people prefer. So a lot of the time, the women's injured, the man's not. He thinks she's nuts. So I said, listen, everything works faster. Okay, I'm okay with that. So they're easy for that. You have extra ports around the house. You can use your iPad wired. Only thing you can probably text, depends who you're texting, from the iPad. You can definitely email within the iPad and, of course, be wired.
With the right adapters, you can use any iPhone. I have the adapter at my desk. You can turn off all wireless function and still have full capability on your phone. It runs it completely, well, except for cellular calling. I can do anything that requires an
You got
internet
Wi-Fi
connection.
calling though.
Well, I can turn Wi-Fi off and it would still work.
You can do Wi-Fi calling on airplane mode.
Can you now? That's interesting. Double checking that. But anyway, yeah, you can. There's adapters for now. You can go wired on almost any wired device.
That's right. So with an Android, there's a way to do it. I don't know how to do it, but I have another building biologist knows how to do it. You can actually talk through a wired device, and he's can set that up. I don't know how to do it because I just can't be. I'm EMF sensitive, so I can't use too much computer.
How about when
time.
you're not using your cell phone? Should you keep it as far away from yourself as possible, or don't sleep with it on your chest, or whatever?
I mean, you can go as far as to put it in like a Faraday bag type of thing.
Oh,
I mean, if you
Faraday
wanted.
cage.
Well, I mean, the equivalent, like a anti-static bag, anything that would keep it,
Oh.
keep its radiation from leaking.
So
Okay.
first you want to do is make sure the Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi is off the phone. That's the first thing you do because it puts out a lot more radiation constantly. It never stops. And then the cell phone itself, talking to the cell phone tower every 3 or 4 minutes, it pulses.
You're completely right there because they're constantly searching for connection to another device. So whenever you actually make your connection with your cell phone on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, it actually puts out a little bit less power because whenever it's slamming at all times right now looking for Bluetooth connections. Are you out there? Are you out there? Are you out there? So that's completely true.
Yes, and that's a perfect way to deliver that. So you have Bluetooth and you have your Wi-Fi. That's off. Okay. I would recommend people to get a landline second. Okay. Get the landline. Start using it. Use your cell phone. Keep it away from you, and tell people just to text you only, if possible. And then you take the text, read it, and call them back from a landline. And start doing that. It takes a habit. It's weird. Trust me. I've been through it. I wasn't injured like this like I was. I would have never done this because I was so busy with my career. I had to be available all the time with my career at the time. Of course, I had to quit my job because of the idea of my injuries. So it's tough in the very beginning, but it starts getting easier and easier. The reason why this is so important, it's not for you, me, that I'm worried about so much. It's our kids.
Sure.
Because I wasn't exposed to this really until I was about 30.
And say for us, we were probably 10, 15 whenever it really started having
I
prevalence.
had my
of this
first
stuff.
cell phone like 17. So.
Yeah.
So we have the auction depriving right now. Then we have the wireless stuff. And then when you go in these schools, they have 30 cell phone towers in that actual classroom, which is your iPad. And it's constantly Bluetooth and wireless.
But for kids, is this damage permanent? I mean, is
yes,
it reversible?
Well, it can, but it's going to cost you a lot of money, and then it depends how bad the damages are. But neurologically, it's very tough because then you can't have a career anymore. I barely made it. So luckily I had a few dollars in the bank, and then I had a lot of
So I would think it'd be worse so for kids as their neurological system is developing. Obviously, it'd be worse than somebody like my age in late 50s or, been exposed since I was in my mid-40s.
well, the alpha male's gone just about one every 50.
No, right here. Hey, you want to fight?
Whoa.
Whoa. Come on.
Calm down,
I
Armand.
object to that.
Armand's, he's
I can lick you the best day you ever had.
All right. I just
You
thought that'd
too.
be kind of fun to say.
10:08, sir. Just saying. When you're getting ready to fight people, you probably should go to court now.
Yes. Yeah, you got your testosterone starting to bubble
Wait, what
again.
time's this court?
10:30.
10:30. It's right across the
You'll
street.
be all right.
Yeah,
You gotta go through security.
I got to get dressed. I
Don't
don't
take
want to go
anything
looking
with
like
you.
a
You don't need a
bum.
quarter anymore because they provide the locks for the you don't have to put the quarter in the lock anymore over there.
Oh, thank you. I'll let him check my gun.
Thanks, Armand. We'll catch up with you.
All
in a
right.
bit.
Yeah, nice day. Nice to meet
pleasure.
you. Yeah, come back sometime.
Yeah.
So long, boys.
Later,
Take it easy,
alligator.
Armand. Where were we?
When it's
Ways to prevent.
mitigations. Yeah. So the second thing that you can do is have a hardwire person come, like I said, and hardwire the TVs and then your computers. At least your computer be wired. Usually, you can use goes off your modem or router, and then you wire that from that point to your computer. But you got to make sure the computer's turned off. Make sure that's very important because a lot of people leave that on. They think it's hardwired, right? But no, it's still using the wireless as well. But the other booby trap is you cannot, on the newer routers, is done intentionally, you cannot turn off the wireless unless you actually go online and call them, and they can go in there and actually do it manually or
Yeah, on the
through
ones you
their-
get from your cable company, they don't allow you to. That's true. If you buy any of them, and I don't have the meters to check and make sure they're telling the truth, but I know the ones that I buy a couple $100 routers. I had like a lot of features on mine. I can turn off the radio, so at least the software claims. But I wonder how true that is. If I've turned off is it just turning off broadcast of the signal, or is it completely shutting down the radio?
You need to get a meter because I found many people that are a lot smarter than me at this kind of stuff have turned theirs off, and then they found out it didn't turn it off. This stays on.
Sure.
They say it's off, but it's not off. And your copy machines, sometimes they have a Zigbee, or they have like two different, sometimes wireless.
Yeah, wireless thing. Your lights now, the Hue lights have Zigbee and whatever protocols others are using now to talk. Like just mesh networks is what there's. The Internet of Things is a whole new thing. I'm sure you're familiar with. Like you definitely have to be aware of that with what you're into.
Well, that's the whole purpose to connect us to the internet. I mean,
Right.
you won't need a phone anymore. You won't need a computer. You just be connected to it. That's the whole idea behind this whole Internet of Things.
For my job, I would argue that would save me some effort, but I guess what you would argue is I'm losing a little bit in that trade-off there.
Yeah.
Well, just feel very blush and injured from it. So that's why I tell people you don't want to wait till you get injured because it will devastate you. Think about your career right now. You couldn't function.
It's true.
You have to find something totally
I
different.
mean, I literally am as connected to the internet you can be without being more or less jacked in, like you're saying. I mean, I have to be connected at all times.
Right.
I'm tethered, more or less.
So those companies you were saying that could come in and hardwire your home, the low voltage companies or something. Would there be any way we could get a list or a couple of the recommendations? I had a few people asking.
This is any company that does low voltage. There's dozens in every town. It's from doing phone or from doing your doorbells to phone wiring to anything like that. They're very common.
Another great question we had from Pathy. Is this possible people could adapt to this? Because, I mean, we're an ever-changing species.
That's interesting.
Is there a possibility that people could adapt and this could not be as harmful?
I wouldn't see why we couldn't evolve to the point. Well, actually, know what? We can't because the way it attacks our physiology and hitting our DNA and whatnot, you can't evolve past that. Like unless you involve
DNA.
shielding in your body, I don't know how you
Right.
could do that.
Yeah, that might be a loaded question. Some people, that's what they've been doing. They've been doing a lot of meditations, and they've been raising their frequency, raise your frequency high enough.
I guess that's a good point. You could do that.
You could increase the immune system where these things don't affect you. The problem that I see with that, but what about nature? We need nature as well. And
So what you're saying is that some people have gotten kind of the ability that the Earth has where we spin our magnetic core and create our own shield, some people are getting to the point where they can raise their frequency enough to where they've got more or less their own high frequency shield. But nature itself has not that ability.
Yeah, that's right. So they do adapt as well, and I think they use viruses. Just so you know, I think viruses are really like they are the janitors. They clean up the mess. It's like it's a scene of an accident. You know, you have the firefighters, you have the ambulances, and you got the police officers all there. Well, we don't say they caused the accident.
True.
It's the person that had a heart attack caused the accident, but they're at the scene of the accident. So I think these viruses are necessary by nature that help our body adapt because we're being poisoned. So a lot about virology, I don't know everything about it neither. No one does. We're all trying to figure this out. If someone says they know everything, then they don't know everything.
Well, it's only been 100 years since we've basically, or 100 or so years since we basically come up with the idea of germs themselves. So, from Jonas Salk creating the polio vaccine to whenever that was 100 years or so ago it's not that long.
Well, the germ theory, but also the terrain theory. So if you fix the terrain, you don't have the germ issue. So it's this, like I said, your skin is your second largest organ in your body. For years, I thought it was the largest organ, but
I know what my largest organ is.
But it's not. So this is your immune system. If you put something in your face that's going to block oxygen below the safety level of 19.5 volume oxygen, you're going to create a candida and cavity issue in your mouth, and it's going to start destroying your immune system. And that's the concern I have with the kids. Is their immune system being destroyed because it starts in their mouth. That's why you always know if somebody has a good immune system or they're healthy by their teeth. If they have bad teeth, they have bad health. I'm going to say it.
Is that true? Okay.
It goes hand in hand usually.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily. And what you put in the teeth is like the mercury, and then you have the root canals. That destroys people's meridians, and then it destroys their health, and the mercury leaks in their brain. I mean, you can't be more dumb. But that's what we've done all these years because we were told, hey, this is how it is. And all the doctors are doing, they're nothing wrong. They're not doing nothing wrong. They're just following orders. That's how
they've been trained, is what you're saying.
That's how they've been trained. So I don't.
There's no point in what you're saying is going down and harassing the doctor on the street because he supports the vaccine or anything. He's just going by the dogma that he's been issued his entire life.
That's exactly right. Now, again, I think people should do a lot of research on that. I can send you a research paper that I didn't know. I'm not that clever to write this paper, but it's a beautiful paper. It explains everything, and I'll send it to you. And you want to send it out to every single one of your people, I will get it for you.
I have a few more questions from the audience, if you don't mind. So these EMF protection devices, are they legitimately helpful?
Yes, we as building biologists, we're not against them. Okay.
Seems like a fight fire with fire situation, though.
What we don't want people to think is they're safe because they have them. They do help. I have a body voltage meter I can use, and people have shun guide. I have shun guide on right now. It does seem like it does deflect or reduce the EMF exposure, or maybe working energetically with the body. But I've been doing some testing on something called red zone right now. It's you plug it into your house outlet, and it does. I feel it without a question. But I'm also sensitive to everything, so I can feel everything. So I feel it. So it definitely helps me out in a lot of areas. But you just don't want to try to rely on it and say, I'm going to keep my wireless and plug one of these things in and say it's okay.
Sure.
The easiest thing, as I said, just make everything wired. We still can use our phone. We just need to get down to about 2G. See, 1G was about 5 new frequencies. Okay, that was when we talked to each other. We have 2G, which was also as Wi-Fi, was about another 10 new frequencies. Then we had 3G, which is 10 new frequencies. That's when a lot of Lyme patients became very, very sensitive, and they went crazy. Their health went downhill because they added the 1900 and 2100 megahertz frequency, which had packaged information like pictures and emails and things like that. That just destroyed a lot of those people's health. 4G had 5 new frequencies, and we could have stopped there. It's really all we needed. We need anything more than that. 5G, they added 3,000 new frequencies. So now we have 300G.
For what? What are these?
Well, you could disguise that and say it's for bandwidth. I mean, that's what I would say immediately. Like all these extra frequencies, I can run them on top of each other and run 100 megabit signal on every one of them. You get what I'm saying? I mean, that's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, so again, the government now makes money on these different bands, so they're making a lot of money on this stuff. Okay, and probably 28 gigahertz, maybe 30 gigahertz, all I've really been using around town. But you can go to Costco right now and buy a bug killer, and it will kill every bug within 250 feet of your house. They're using millimeter wave.
See, I've seen these things that you can plug them in your house, and they say, get rid of all your cockroaches or whatever you got. Just plug this into the wall. I've often thought, what are you doing? You're driving out something that, like, by instinct wants to get away from this, and you're just going to sit around it? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. That
I
device
always thought of it
particular-
like a dog whistle, kind of like they're sitting.
Nah,
down
that's not how they
little-
work. It's not an ultrasonics or anything like that. It's not audio. It's an EM thing is what those use. It's like a electrical field that those critters like the cockroaches go, I can't fucking handle this. I have to get away.
What would the equivalent be for us? What if would there be an electrical field? We'd
Well,
have to
imagine you were
walk-
standing next to a Van de Graaff or any other kind of static electricity generator, and you can feel that palpable feeling in the air of all that static electricity. Your hairs are kind of standing up a little bit. It's the same thing, I would think. I don't want to be around that. But now we've got a small enough one that works good for roaches, and they want you to stick around it. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll just swat them. I don't even have them, but
He's got roaches.
seems like the older models use sound that we can't hear.
sure.
But these actually, they sold off the FCC sold off the millimeter wave frequencies to kill bugs. So they know we're using the 430, 440s in those areas, nanometer frequency ranges. They can match the bug's frequency and kill them. So they can. That's why they sell these things at Costco. But unfortunately, we're still made of the same down deep, the same thing. So it's going to affect us as well. It's just all more EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, but these are of course a lot more pulsed. So what else could we do as far as reducing the exposures? We have meter. We have what we call dirty electricity meters. That you filters or capacitors or where they dissipates the actual EMF in the wiring. So you mentioned wiring early.
Mm-hmm.
So your house is surrounded with Romex wiring, not MC cable. So if it was aluminum like MC cable, like they do in Chicago and New York, and
Or in the office building ceilings.
yes,
Yeah.
that's code.
Right.
So that blocks the electrical field. This electric field comes in 6 to 12 feet from that wall. So what that does, we had a 60 hertz cycle, 60 times a second that field's hitting your body. Your body can harmonize to it and get used to it a little bit. So it might not cause very minimal amount of health problems. But now we have all these different switch mode power supplies that we plug into the wall to go from AC to DC current. It injects more dirty electricity, including smart meters, into your electric wiring and in the ground, and it rides on that 60 hertz cycle in the tens of thousands of hertz frequencies, so 10 to thousands of times per second. That's hitting you. And we call it dirty electricity or magnetic electropollution.
Sure.
That's where it's become more detrimental for people who have ADHD or they just can't recover. They're not healing fast because they have so much. I mean, I know babies that will go to a house and they all of a sudden will start crying because they feel that field.
Well, it'd be almost the same thing like I was saying with cockroaches. They are still more in tune with instinct, and they can feel that and automatically know something's not right. I guess that's kind of what you're saying. A baby, they don't know like ow or happy or sad. They just know that the feeling they have right now is not right.
That's right.
Someone in chat says that her son, who's autistic, used to unplug those things all the time out of the wall. She wonders if he could feel them. Because maybe he was a little more sensitive.
Possible.
I said, oh.
Unplug the
little
chargers.
things- no, the little emitters that emit for the roaches, like we were just talking about. He would walk around and unplug those.
I just had another client call me about that, and that's exactly what was happening to one of her kids. He was unplugging everything.
Yeah. Well, he was. So she's this what she says. She says, "Crazy thing. My autistic son unplugged them. I wondered if it was affecting him." So
Could have been.
It's all putting out a field about 6 feet away. So those, and then you have magnetic fields you're creating there as well too, a little higher when you have those switch mode power supplies or capacitors plugged into the wall for charging. So you want to we want to get those things unplugged when it's not being in use.
Sure. That's the only sure way is turn it off.
Turn off. Get all LED lights out of the house.
Go back to
Go
incandescent.
back to incandescent. And
If you can
that's-
find them.
That's as simple as that. It's,
What if you can't find those? How do you feel about like the fluorescent lighting that's mercury vapor?
Yeah, I have a spectrum analyzer that shows me the frequencies, and yeah, fluorescent lights they pulse quite a bit, but and so do the LEDs. Now the LEDs are better now, so I tell people if you just have to use some, try to leave it in the garage or in the basement. You're not there all the time, but we spend a lot of time around. Go back to the incandescent.
I would say fluorescent would definitely be the midway point, just due the fact of how those work, the way the atoms of mercury get excited and they will stay lit. Even if there's a pulse, they don't completely turn off between the pulses. So that's more akin to the burning of an incandescence filament. Whereas what you're saying with the LED, that definitely has to obey the pulse of the electrical grid. So
right.
Yes, and I have equipment you can hear it too.
Sure.
I have an OC1 machine that I use that you can hear the noise. I have another one, spectrum analyzer, that I can show the light frequency so that my clients can see it.
sure.
And
See, it's funny you put it like that too. A few years ago, I had a discussion with my wife, and we were talking about all the new broadcasting devices, for lack of a better term, that exist now that put out signals into the world. and I said, "Can you imagine what it would be like if you could see the entire electromagnetic spectrum?
That'd be fucked.
How the world would glow to you, and that every spectrum is basically just a different type of color. Can you imagine what would be swirling around us right now? It'd be a haze that you couldn't see through. It would be
Imagine more
so
than that if
thick
you
of
could
so
pick
many
through
frequencies.
them and figure out what and
Well,
obtain the
I mean,
information
eventually,
inside.
I mean, if you could see, you'd start to be able to say, I could tell that's a 440, hertz signal. I know that's what that's likely doing right now.
Right.
But can you imagine? Though, that'd be a superpower to have, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd have to figure out a good application to use it as a superpower. It'd be a power for sure.
Well, think about this. Now you can tell where there's an installation in the desert just by looking out. Get on top of a hill and look out towards the desert, and there's nothing out there. Then why the hell is that hill there glowing so fucking brightly?
No, it's a superpower.
So, anyway, same deal. Sorry to get off track there, Rob. Well, what else you got? I mean, we tend to get on a lot of little side things here. I'm
Tangents.
sure you've noticed.
Well, the mitigation is the hardest part. So the funnest part for me is talking about it. The mitigation is the hardest. So because again, this technology is amazing. It's a lot of fun. It has great intentions from what it can do for us, but it wasn't made that way on purpose. This all could have been made to be safe. First of all, you would never make everything wireless anyway. You would hardwire it and just have the wireless used for more of an emergency situation or just a small, less amount of time. So the other thing I have to deal with my clients is, as a matter of fact, just the kids. They're the hardest part because they're involved in this stuff. Their school requires a lot of it.
Right.
But
They issue them now. If you don't have it, you get it issued. I mean, they're making sure you get it.
What, the iPad?
iPads or whatever.
Yeah.
devices,
Who was it?
Chromebooks.
My buddy was just telling me, he's like, my kid has to bring an iPad home every week, and I got to make sure it's like, doesn't get broken or anything. I'm like, well, welcome to adulthood, first off. But number two, they're going to send that iPad home with your kid.
But it can be wired, okay? And you want to get a stylus pen, don't touch it because you're absorbing all that magnetic field. I've tested it. Magnetic field drops off fast.
Sure.
We're around the 2 and 3 milligauss on that screen, and anything above a half milligauss in building biology, we know it causes cancer. And in EPA, it said anything above 3 milligauss, you're guaranteed pretty much get cancer above 3 milligauss. So they're putting their hands on this for a lifetime exposure. So the Apple, okay, I mean, the whole entire business, I just go to apple666.com, go to wifidangers.com.
Apple666.com.
Yeah,
Checking that out now.
you could see a lot of bizarre things at the $6 billion facility that they built, what it looks like. And some areas of it from a top view down looks like it's electrocuting the sperm. You can't make this stuff up.
And how can I electrocute my sperm again?
Well, they're talking about because of the voltage gated calcium channels of the EMFs, it affects the voltage. And we have one goes to the testes, one goes to the brain, one to the heart. So a lot of my clients are wearing these heart monitors all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, this is the reason why you need a smart heart monitor because you have all this electromagnetic soup that you're swimming in, and it's messing your heart up because you have a voltage-gated calcium channel there, and that's where that cell is very, very sensitive, and it lets too much calcium in, and then your whole rhythm of the heart, the synchrony of the rhythm gets out of whack, and that's when illness and disease sets in.
Think about the irony of these new smartwatches that people use for their health. That have all these sensors that will shine. Like my wife has an iWatch or Apple Watch or whatever they're called, and it's got this super bright green LED that shines light down into her skin so it can get her O2 and her pulse and all kinds of stuff. And it's a health device, and based upon your line of thinking, it's more or less the exact opposite of that.
That's right. It's all about artificial intelligence. That's what this all evolves around. I tell police officers and people, I said, listen, you won't have a job in the next 7 years. Your job will be gone. They won't need you anymore because they use AI.
Sure.
AI knows everything. I can tell my phone, I want some Dockers. And Dockers advertising will pop up on Facebook.
Yeah, that happens all the time where you'll be having a conversation, and even seems like sometimes just thinking about
targeted ads or whatever.
Yeah, like way too
If you talk with your
coincidental.
buddy about needing to buy a vacuum.
I think we've did a show on that before, the way too coincidental nature of Facebook ads. I mean, that's just weird.
Well, it says it to use your, you can turn all that off. It targets you for certain things.
Yeah, but there's times I feel like I've been having conversations with people, and literally the next time on Facebook, scrolling down the third scroll through, now I'm like tennis shoes.
What about this? Even worse, you'd be talking with somebody about a friend. You're not good friends with him. He is. That guy will pop up as people you may know now.
Yeah, it's happened to me a lot of times too.
That's crazy. That one's worse than the fucking I want a vacuum and a vacuum thing ad pops up.
Anyway.
That one's worse.
AI.
Oh, hang on. I got one more question here. So what are your thoughts? Donna asks this. Donna from Northern Illinois asks, what are his thoughts on people putting those RFID chips in their hands to unlock their doors to their house and control everything in them?
Those are passive devices, in my opinion, but
Yeah, that's the whole method of this. What's going on? They want everybody hooked up to the matrix or the grid, Wi-Fi. They want everything Wi-Fi. That's just what they're trying to pull off.
RF is radio frequency, so I mean,
So you have the first of all, they had to get you to hold it,
Sure.
which is where the phone comes in, and of course the back part of the app, the sign of sin, is the apple on the back of the Apple phone. So they have to have you hold it first. Then the second thing they do is have you wear it. So it's on your chakra. So the chakra on the wrist, it affects your right side of the heart, which enables you to have discernment. So when you wear these watches, not only is it pollutant because it's putting out RF, but it's also affecting your ability to have the left and right brain to synchronize.
I think she's more talking about those injectable RFIDs that you can unlock your house with, or my bank account information's in there. Here, go ahead and scan it. And
Yeah, they're trying to hook everybody up to the internet. That's what they're doing.
I would say that is, in my opinion, not so much to worry about, at least in the regard of EM. Those are passive devices. They're more or less coils of wire that are susceptible. I guess they can make you more susceptible to picking up EM, but those don't activate until they're hit with a supply. So it's not like you've got something inside your body. If you get one of those broadcasting, you have to be hit with a power supply for it to work. But then you can almost argue that we're constantly hitting with power anyway. So
Yeah, it's a tracker.
Yeah.
It's a tracking device too. So if they don't like you, they'll just take the 41.3 gigahertz frequency that vibrates, and that's it. You're done. They just match you that frequency and go from your cell phone to the tower to the satellite back down, or vice versa.
I have a question. So in the stereo world, there's such a thing that's a mythical brown note.
the brown.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
There's a frequency that you can play that's supposed to make people shit them pants, themselves. Like, it's probably not true.
That's an audio thing though.
Yeah, that's why I said but still it's a frequency of, so it's a sound wave.
It's not EM. But I mean, it's not too far out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
I mean, like you said, the body's vibrated frequencies. Whether it's a frequency of EM or a frequency of audio, a vibration's a vibration.
Yeah, sound wave is not
like
too
whether or not I blow on a piece of paper to make it vibrate,
a hertz,
or if I yell at it and make the sound
so
vibrate
a
it.
frequency in audio, a hertz. If you're at 20 hertz, that's your sound wave going up and down.
All hertz is an amount of vibration.
Hertz is a hertz, right? I mean, so
An oscillation, not a vibration.
There it is.
But same difference.
It's all about oscillation. It's all about matching the frequency of the Earth. Unfortunately, now the frequency of the Earth used to be 7.83 hertz, which it matches the brain frequency, and now it's at 100 hertz. So it's running higher. So a lot of these devices now that was giving you the Sherman resonance of 7.83 hertz to help your body deal with all the EMFs, they don't work anymore because now the frequency is raising right now because all what's going on. These psychopaths that's doing this whole thing, they feed off the fear and they feed off this death and scarcity. So we have to keep the frequency of love, and this is great, and at the point to where we know things are going to be better. We're going to go through some tough times.
So
But
positivity helps is basically what you're saying.
this is the best thing that's ever happened to us because now we know what's going on. Because a lot of people just have no clue that this is what's going on. There's only a few people run the whole entire planet, maybe probably less than 80. And the people that you see on TV aren't doing anything. And the media's just reading scripts. That's it. And it's the same
we
script
all
next-
take marching orders from somewhere up on high.
Yeah.
It's got to end somewhere.
So we'll have better health and then wisdom, and I think this is a way to get us closer back to our Creator as well.
Well, Rob, unless you got anything else very, very interesting to throw into this, I think we're going to call it a stop for today.
Hang on, a couple more questions here, real
If
quick.
you got more questions, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, so Jose Nunez says, I'm late to the show, sorry, but talking about vibrations, have you guys heard that they might have been a method that was used to build the pyramids? I assume he's talking about vibrations can lift things up, you never heard of
There's
that?
a lot
So,
easier ways to do it than that, but
frequency levitation. Never
yeah,
heard-
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the Egyptians probably had access
They're
to
asking
that.
him what his thoughts are.
Okay, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think that there's no human can lift something that's 100 million pounds like some of these things were. So they had some sort of elevation or technology that was able to do it. for
What
sure.
do you buy into the frequency levitation thing? Do you
Yeah,
think
they
that
can
that's
do
a-
it. It's
that's a-
definitely
okay.
it can happen.
I watched a very interesting, and this is off topic, a very interesting show about how they did that the other day. They posited they built canals, strapped big-ass air bladders to them, and floated them.
Yeah.
And then whenever they got to the pyramid to get
They
them up
drained
there.
it like a lock and dam.
No. This is the coolest part. They built a tube, and they put a door each in the bottom of it.
Fill it with water.
Filled with water, and then they let it was 2 doors at the bottom. They
Float
let it
up.
in there, and they just float that shit right
Genius shit.
up. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, really cool. All right. Any other questions from the crew?
No, if you guys have any more questions, I mean, now's the time. If not, this will be it.
Oh my God, El Chapo. I don't know what we'll say about this. So what happens to prisoners who sneak cell phones up their arse? Are they more susceptible to radiation?
Oh, okay. At least it's on point. Del Chapo.
Yeah, I would say probably a little.
You get more radiation from having a cell phone in your ass?
I think it's great. I think that if you can have fun while you're doing it, why not? But
I guess so.
No, I mean, so El Chapo is a parody account of obviously the Mexican guerrilla cartel drug dealer.
right.
So he's in prison, and every question he asks us on the show has
That
something
makes
to
good
do with
sense.
that, and he always,
you know what? I think if you had fun while you're doing this, that's what matters. But no, obviously having a cell phone in that location is not a good spot. But why not have some fun?
Yeah.
Right.
Chapo, keep it out of your butt, man. This is prison. There's lots of other things that could go in there. Anyway. All right. Thanks for coming in today, Rob. Again, great talking to you. If you'd like to come back on again, give us an update.
Any final thoughts? Any last words? You think anything? Advice to the people, the population?
Well, I think the first of all, turn off the news. Don't ever watch it ever again.
Check.
And that would definitely increase your vibration to
Increase my happiness.
your happiness. Get out to nature. Okay, play with your kids. Give everybody hugs. Do as much as you can to get as much oxygen as possible. And if you can, get some sun because you're going to need it this winter. Because what's going on right now is it's multifaceted. I didn't get into everything with the vaccine. It's kind of a turbulent thing. But I like what you said earlier. I think it's your choice to do what you want to do with your body. I just think that more times you keep it closer to nature, the better off you're going to be with anything that you do. So I believe in getting some sun. And I know that I've been exposed to the coronavirus many times. So I have natural immunity due to that type of vaccine. That's a better vaccine than any vaccine on the planet.
Sure. Great stuff, Rob. Eric, you got anything else you want to add?
No, man. I just appreciate he's got full of knowledge. I could sit here and talk to this guy all day about stuff that I don't know. You know what I mean?
We can ask
just try to learn
weird little
shit.
questions
But
all
yeah,
day.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Just weird little dumb shit that I could. Right. Yeah. So nothing really important.
Rob, I'm going to try to get your stuff and get it scanned before you get out of here. I'll throw that up on the group for everybody with the Google Drive link. If you have any other questions, email us at info@surrealtalkpodcast.com. We'll get you put in touch with Rob if you got anything you want to contact Rob about.
And if you'd like to be on the show, also let us know what.
info@surrealtalkpodcast.com. Thanks, everybody, for showing up on the live stream. Appreciate y'all downloading, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks a bunch.
Bye.
All right, we're clear on the record. Thanks for coming in, Rob. That was great, man.
Yeah, that was a good show.
That was fun.
I hope it was a little fun. Make it worth your time.
Yeah, no,
I was just trying to find my cards to give at least some information. I know I have.
Yeah, because some of these people are really, really into this stuff. And like last time, I felt bad I wasn't able to give them this information that they needed.
I did send you 5 or 6 documents from the military back in the 70s and 60s and 70s. I don't know if you saw those.
I'll put them right on the actual podcast post. So
Put them all on there. Any links of all the different EMF exposure that NASA knew about. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. But there wasn't
So you're opposed to anything in this email being put out? I mean, the
that's why you sent it to us.
Okay, good deal.
I need to give them my contact information and contact me.
Are you on Facebook?
I am on Facebook.
Well, not.
I'll add you on Facebook later today.
Like Rob,
I have a personal Facebook page. That's
You don't want to get that. You want to do like your group or something. Like have a group for that. You know.
I kind of like. I do this to help people out more than anything else. I'm not doing it for the money.
Sure.
I obviously have a.
All right. Well, then I'll get your information from you. I'll make a post up on our Facebook group where we get the majority of our traffic out, and anybody wants to get a hold of you definitely can.
I've probably seen the actual links to download, but this is one of the ones that talks about the oxygen.
Sure. I'll take
Exposure to lower oxygen. I don't know if you can put that in there somehow.
Beautiful. Yeah, you sent this, didn't you?
I don't think I sent that.
You didn't send
Maybe
this one?
Time before. I sent like the NASA. And these
I reckon.
I like the older history of stuff. I can start sending you some links of actual stuff that you might want to.
That'd be great.
Somehow.
Yeah.
If you give me an email, I'll send you a bunch
Sure.
of stuff.
Same one that you
Text it to you right now.
But what I use for my clients that contact me for surveys and like that, I usually use my home number because that's the best way to contact them. I don't use myself for that because I don't want to give them the phone.
I don't blame you.
But I get referrals from doctors all the time. So most of my clients come from doctors. I kind of do this just because I can talk a little bit more. I don't talk these types of terms to the doctor patients, but I just try to go there and take readings and help them reduce their exposure.
I don't know. I find it again. I don't completely buy into the whole thing as much as you do, but there is so much I know that we don't understand about the way electricity and EM and magnetics affect our body that it's always worth a discussion to me. It's so very interesting.
We don't understand why it affects more people than others. We do know that due to physics, the smaller the body is, it attracts more radiation. So the thinner we are, that's why women are affected more. For some reason, it becomes like an antenna. That's why we're so concerned about the kids, because they are the biggest antenna. They attract the most because they're smaller.
Sure.
And again, they're not going to show the problems now because it takes years of buildup for that radiation to build up. And all of a sudden, at age 30, they start having this symptom, and they have no idea it was due to the exposure they had maybe 10 or 15 years ago. It's a cumulative effect, and just the idea that this thing has over 4,000 different possible symptoms because again, it attacks the immune system. That's what it does. It doesn't really specifically cause one thing. Now you can adjust the frequency where it can, and the military knows how to do all that stuff. So,
I'd like to someday have a conversation with you and a person who is really into like crystals and the frequency healing power of crystals. Like to see if there's any kind of because they believe in the good frequencies. You more or less talk about the bad frequencies. To get those two together, I mean that'd be an interesting conversation.
About the good frequency, that's why that's why I wear a shun guide. It's a to reduce some of the exposure. It helps out a lot. But yeah, crystals. This can be there is technology we can combat it.
Sure.
It's just hard to find it right now.
Well,
suppressed.
It's suppressed. Nobody's taking it seriously because it's been suppressed. I hate the thought that anything gets suppressed. Why not experiment on everything? Is my thought. As long as you're not hurting people, let's experiment.
Yeah, well, I think the technology was brought in good intentions, but it was always
Quickly misused.
Frequencies over the blood-brain barrier was used for medicine. Now they're using the same frequencies to communicate with. So it always starts out good, but it ends up on hog, and we get a hold of that.
Yeah.
It's bad too. That's like it's the good and evil, bad. It's just, everything's it's so yin and yang.
Sure.
It really is.
Yep.
Just a couple things here. If you want to.
I'll take whatever you got. I'll put it in as one big doc and make it available.
All right. I have this too, but it's with a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I sent you the full download of this one here, right?
Well, if I've got that, then I'll just. Which one is that?
NASA.
Yeah.
5 of them I had.
Yep.
You put all that on there. It's kind of cool.
I'll just make this one gigantic document for him.
Okay, and then I think this. I want to send this to you too. If you want, I can give you the hard copy. You can read. This is really the true story of what's going on. A person smarter than me wrote the paper, but I can send you the full download. It just explains what's going on. It explains the doctor's been suppressed.
Oh, this is
COVID
beautiful.
thing. This is one of she is so scared she won't put her name on it.
By a concerned citizen, I noticed that.
I'm not that smart.
Really?
So it's exactly. She's had
Completely sourced and everything.
Really?
Yeah,
This is cool.
She is so smart.
Do you have this digitally, you said?
Yeah.
I'll give it to you digitally.
Yeah, rather than scan this, I'd
Yeah,
rather
I'll
have it
give you
digitally.
digitally.
Yeah, here,
That's
I'll give you that
all.
back.
Yeah, she is my energetic healer. She healed me over the phone. A lot of my things that I do. Her name is Pam. I don't use her last name, but we use quantum physics, and she could tell me everything was wrong with me over the phone.
That's amazing. Some people are just that dialed in.
Yeah, we would just do certain tapping techniques. I would tap in certain spots, and it would get my gallbladder and liver working better because this energy field it just gets everything out of whack. It doesn't flow like a pitcher or a batter. When you're in the groove, they have a flow to everything. A rhythm to it. It's not jet. It's just more smooth. I was a pitcher, so I had a rhythm in my pitcher. I throw the ball right where I need to throw it when I was in a groove.
Sure.
When I wasn't in a groove, it was up high and inside, all over the place. I just couldn't get in that groove because my rhythm was off.
Right.
And it's like, Wainwright talks about that all the time. But I'll send all this to you.
Awesome, man. Appreciate
I have
it.
your email. Why
Yeah.
don't you send it? Okay. I'll send it to you again.
We're still live. Hey guys, thanks for showing up again, hanging out after the show. You know where to get a hold of us. The group, the Discord. You guys know. We'll catch you on next time.
Info.